Well, hello, friends. Today, I thought I would start working on a new thing that I talked about in the commute talk the other day, and it's an IDE because I realized that one of the big things that I do with my computer all day is sit around in Qt Creator, right? Which is my current IDE, or Integrated Development Environment, if you're not familiar. Uh, and the thing that's like mentally holding me back from even wanting to switch over to using Serenity full time right now, I have to admit, is the fact that I don't want to be stuck in that environment trying to edit code because it's so pleasant to edit code in Qt Creator. And the only thing that I have in Serenity right now for editing code is text editor, which is, single file, very limited editing. Like the fanciest thing that it has is auto indent, but even that is extremely naive. The undo buttons, they're just for show. They don't do anything. There's no like syntax highlighting, nothing like that. There's like a million things missing that would make this a pleasant editor to use for my daily programming. And maybe it would be an interesting exercise in arbitrary restriction to force myself to edit code with this, but I would rather go and try to start building an actual development environment tool that I would want to use. So that's what we're going to do now. So I don't have a plan and I don't have any idea of how we're going to do this, but I figured we would just start by giving it a name. And it should be something that ends in studio. So not Visual Studio because that one is a taken, but how about Dev Studio? Woo. It's pretty cool. But at the same time, I always call it hacking anyway. So how about we just call it Hack Studio? That's more me, I guess. Hack Studio. Okay, so Hack Studio is born. Now, how are we going to do this? I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll just take the makefile from Visual Builder, and someday maybe this will integrate with Visual Builder, but Visual Builder is just a UI design tool, right? So I'm just going to borrow the makefile here and edit it for our needs. So it's called Hack Studio. And let's see, build root file system. Let me just make sure that we install this thing. DevTools. Hack Studio. I already like the name, Hack Studio. So cute. And then I'm going to be very convenient and make a shortcut symlink like I do for everything here. And eventually these should probably go away, but right now we're still accumulating them. Okay. So, did I forget one? Yeah, I have to add it here as well. So, Hack Studio. Okay, so now we should be able to make all if we just have that file. Let's see if it works. Okay, well, that was certainly not right. Unexpected end of file, what the frick? Oh, look what I did. How did I even do that? Fine. All right. So, okay, so now we have an empty shell of an app, right? Hack Studio main. So I think we're going to start by building a GUI, and I'm imagining like a very simple. Let's start out by just imagining it as a text editor that can open like a project, which is a list of files. And we can use the Serenity project for this. So QCreator has this file that I auto-generate, which is just a list of all the files that are part of the project. So I think I have a checkout of Serenity in my home directory. I don't. Okay, well, I'm going to make one. So git clone, dot, 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 dot. Oh, it's like that. Okay, wait. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to copy that file. Files into the clone of the directory. Serenity. Okay. So that should have us, give us something to work with, because it's just a like one file per line kind of file. And I want to open it up, and I want to see like all the files on the left in a list or something, and I want to be able to switch between them, and they'll show up in like a big editor on the right. And then I guess I would like to be able to have two editors, because I like to use the split mode. So maybe we'll do like a little bit of stuff like that just to get started, and then we will sort of iterate on this. But we'll start with building a basic UI with like a list of files on the left and big editor on the right. Okay. So let's get started. Let's get some libgui things. Gwindow, gwidget. I mean, we can probably get a lot of stuff done with just those. App, CRHB, blah, 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 and return app exec. There's your skeleton. And then auto window is gwindow construct. Set, we'll set a big rect for this one. So let's start at 100 by 100, because it's like, I always make new apps start at 100 by 100 on screen. I don't know why. And then we'll make it like 800 by 600. It'll be a big app. Obviously, in the end, maybe you should even be running it in full screen, but this will just give us something to work with. And yeah, right. So let's set a caption also. Caption, very important to start to like, or not a caption, title, to start like building that identity in my head of what the heck is this going to be. So Hack Studio. Is it Hack Studio or Hack Studio? It's Hack Studio, like that. I'm a big fan of these camel case names with no space. They look cool to me. Okay, so let's not mental block. Let's instead make forward progress. So we'll make a main widget. And we will set that as the main widget of the window. Okay. And then let's see, we're going to want to put a, let's do it like a simple list, basically. And I'm thinking that we're going to want to have some classes here. So we're going to need something like a project. But let's actually use it first before we define it or declare it. So project would be something like auto project is project load from file, and let's say that let's just make this easy for ourselves, so we'll do something like this. And where the heck is Shadir? It's in unistd.h. Is that actually the right place for that to be, though? I wonder. Yeah, okay. Fine. Don't know why I asked. Okay, there we go. And load from file. Oh no, Serenity. Or we can just do it this way actually. Serenity.files. Assert project. No, it's not found. I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't even know that that's the error. So let's do this. Let's do this, and then we'll fail, because you know, we're not going to support custom projects just yet here. So project, you'll load it like that, and then we will split the main user interface. Maybe put a toolbar up top, and then a horizontal splitter below that has the project list on the left and editing stuff on the right. So we'll add a toolbar, G toolbar, and a splitter. Don't do that. Okay, so toolbar is G toolbar. Construct. Sometimes I forget what it is that I'm trying to do. We'll make it inside of the widget. Oh, and then actually we should make sure that the widget has a layout. So we're gonna need the box layout. Make gbox layout. Orientation. Vertical. Okay. And then below that, we'll put the splitter, construct, take an orientation horizontal, make it a child of widget, okay, and then sometimes I'm starting to wonder, like, if this method of construction that I'm doing is the best, because it's kind of based on Qt, but it made more sense when GWidgets were not reference counted. Now that they're reference counted, there's less of a need to immediately give them a parent. Maybe it would make more sense to write this like toolbar is widget create child. G toolbar. Does that make sense? I don't know. Well, I'll let my brain think about it on the back burner for a while, and we'll see if I come up with some better approach. I didn't particularly like that one, actually. Okay. And then we want to put some stuff in the splitter. I guess we can put a status bar on the bottom. G status bar. Construct. And there we go. And then in the splitter, we want to put a project list view. G list view, say, construct. And G list view is not one of the most polished classes, that's for sure, but we should be able to get it working. So my idea now was to, for the project that we loaded up here, that we would, the project would provide a model that we can just set on the project list view. Like that. Okay. And then, oh, and this list view should actually be in the splitter. And then auto editor, G text editor, need that. Okay, just text editor construct multi-line in splitter. All right. And let's see if we can define that project thing. So DevTools, Hack Studio. Add it to the makefile, project.o. Boom. Okay. Oh, and we have to refresh my cube creator, and then we'll have it here. Okay. Class project. Oops. And let's make that helper function. What was it? Static. Let's make it return an own putter. So an own putter to project, and it's going to be load from file, path. I should take a string. Back own putter, and then we also wanted it to provide a libgui model. So we'll make the constructor private. And non-copyable. Let's make this non-copyable. And non-movable. Okay. And we want to have something that provides a model. Wait, I guess we want that glist view set model. I'm just wondering, it has to be non-constant. It needs a ref putter to a model, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's a fine API. And then we'll say return model. Okay. Because we'll only ever let you have one if we manage to construct one. Okay. So let's see how this will work internally. Project. Load from file, okay, and then we'll need some helper to load from file, so libcore, C file. If file open, will fail. Okay, and then we will loop through this file, reading line by line. What's a long line? 1K, whatever. I should have a default value or default argument to that thing, because it's like, how long can the line be? I don't freaking know. I always end up having to say some number, and I feel like it always turns out to be 1024. Let me search for that globally and we'll see. Yeah, certainly that a few times. Did I ever do? No. How about a page? Happened once. Yeah. As you can see, it's not obvious what the number should be, right? But as I always say, I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's the problem for future Andreas or someone. Okay, so we have a file, and then I guess the easy thing to do would be to just add it to we can just store it in a list, honestly, or in a vector, rather. files. Okay, and then I'll say files, append, line. So actually line gives us, read line is going to give us a byte buffer. So we need to turn that into a string. So we use string copy for that. And then I realized that I'm not actually I'm in a static function here, so I can't use m files. It's not going to work. And then I guess maybe this thing should take that vector as the constructor argument. Okay. Return make project. Move files. Wait, I feel like this is not going to work because make is not going to be able to access the constructor's private, right? So that's a bit annoying. New project. Wait, how the hell do I make an opener like that? I never do this. This is how you would make one? Yeah, okay. Because I can't use the make helper function here because make is not a friend of project. So it can't access the constructor even though I'm inside of a static function of project. That's one of the, I wish that could be solved somehow. I haven't thought of a way to solve it, but I would really like to be able to, I guess, like share my friendship with make somehow. Whatever. This is okay for now. So, oh, I wonder if it could be deduced. Oh, maybe it could. That's kind of cool. Okay, and then we also want to create a model. So we'll say a model is, oh, do I have a simple model somehow? Stringless model, list model. No, I have to make a model. Okay, well, it's not the end of the world. It's easy to make a model. You just, this is what I always do. I just copy the pure virtuals. Then I make a model here. So we'll make the model inside the project file for now. Public. Boom. And new project model. This. Okay. And this is going to take a project. So this is what we're going to give this thing. The project model is going to be like our little helper object that tells the list view about this model. Update we can just ignore. Data we have to care about. Row count we can just return. Let's make this a friend actually. Friend class project model. Okay. Project. There we go. And mProject dot mFiles dot size. Column count is going to be a modest 1 for now. We don't have to care about those actually. Column metadata. Just ignore that too. And we only have to implement this one. Let's say override on these because it's nice. Okay. So here we need the index and the role. if role is role display. Otherwise, we will just return empty value. Okay. So now we want to know what to display. So we'll say row is index row. And this means that we have to get the file name from this list. So this will just be return mproject mfiles at row, and that's it. Okay. So, oh shit, forgot to implement this function. Project. Okay. And we forgot to show the window on screen. So Hack Studio main window show. All right. It's probably something else that I forgot as well, but wait, hold on. I just realized we never break out of this loop. That's not good. If line is null, that means that we finished. Okay, so it's a start. It's definitely the UI I was specifying. This obviously is not perfect. Like I wish this thing would start out over here, for instance. We can probably make it do that. And then this black here, because there's no, the main widget does not have a good background color. It does not fill with the background color. So black is the default background color because memory that we get from the kernel is 0 initialized, and 0 means black in the color RGBA 32 color space, obviously. So let's do something about that. So we'll have to say widget set fill with background color true. And actually, can we make that splitter project list view be a bit smaller by default? How do we do that? Oops. So we're using this in the IRC app window, in the IRC client. Let me show you what that looks like, actually. Oh, whoopsie. I don't know what happened there. If we open the IRC client, then you see that this is a splitter, and it starts out with this thing being kind of small. So how's that working? Well, let's find out. So GDSplitter construct. Let's find them. IRC app window, horizontal container, window list. Okay, so it just starts out with a size policy. Let's try that. Because it's going to drive me crazy if it always, it's always so big when we open it up. Let's say 200. Pixels wide. That should be enough. Okay. It's not enough to contain all of them right now, but you know, in the future we should turn this into a tree view. I can tell already that should have like the different subdirectories and stuff, but we're not going to do that right now. Although it does bother me that the text is aligned so off in the list view entries, so let's go and fix that. GListView, paint event. What are you doing, GListView? Why do you look like this? Where do you paint the text? Here, paint or draw text. It's using the column metadata text alignment. Oh, and we never we did not override that. We neglected to override that. But even so, the default one is center left. Also, this thing is not auto-indented correctly, but let's not care about that right now. But everything that's center left, because this looks more like top left, honestly. Text rect. Text rect is a row rect. Why is it ending up like that? It's filling it with the background color. It's definitely the right background color. The selected one is the selected color. So, but this does look like top left. So are we actually getting text alignment correctly? Let's have a look. So if you go on project, so column metadata, we could inherit from gmodel, but we didn't. So then we just get the default, which just returns a default constructed column metadata, which should have this, which is very strange. Assert, I'm just going to double check here. Text alignment is text alignment center left. Let's rebuild everything just to be sure. Why is it like this? This is so weird. All right. Also, the spacing here is totally unnecessary. So, a number of issues that are irritating me right now, and I just want to fix those. So, let's do the spacing first, because that one, at least, I know how to fix immediately. We just have to, on the layout in the main widget of the Hack Studio app, we just have to set spacing 0, because the default spacing is 4 or 3 pixels of spacing, and we don't want those in this case. We'll just manage our own spacing. I'll show you what I mean, because now it's going to look a little bit more tidy. Yeah, as you can see now, there's no spacing here and no spacing here. Just more properly squished together widgets. But this text alignment thing, what the frick? Draw text. So let's draw a rect around supposedly correct text rectangle. See what's in there. Color. Why do we make it blue? Oh crap! We have to also rebuild libGUI for this. libGUI and Hack Studio clean, because we don't have dynamic linking, so we have to relink. But that's easy because Hack Studio is tiny. Okay, so these are actually the rectangles for the text. And this is supposed to be center left. Center left meaning like vertically center, horizontally left. That makes no sense. Did I break center left? What happens? This is top left. What if we make the items taller? Item height, 32. See if we can exaggerate the issue. Yes, we could. Okay. So this is actually center left. Jesus. Okay, so what are you doing, draw text? Actually, which overload are we calling? one that has a color at the end. So rect, string, font, metadata, blah, blah, blah. We can just follow it this way, actually. So we have the alignment here. And here, center left. Wait, what are we even doing here? Here. It's been too long since I looked at text painting. How does this work again? First, we compute the bounding rect. And then we draw individual lines within the bounding rect. Right. So what is the bounding rect? It's the whole rectangle? The height of the bounding rect is the number of lines. Oh, okay, so it's the bounding rect of the actually painted text. So if it's center left, then I feel like this here should be setting the correct place. Why is that not happening? Okay, let's say for draw text, and we'll say the text that we're drawing. Rect location 2. Rect center y minus what is the bounding height divided by 2. Oh crap, I also need lib draw. And let's look clean. It's getting a bit messy now. Thanks to Ccache, though, it's fast to do this. Maybe this is something that I could work on in my IDE, like not having to make this ridiculous shell command invocations to achieve these things. Okay, so right, so these are definitely like, we're drawing the text for everything in that list, by the way. That's definitely something we could optimize by only doing the ones that are on screen or visible in the viewport, I mean. But bounding rect location is 16 minus 12. So I guess 12 is the half of the size of the bounding rect. So center dot y, presumably that's here, and then we minus bounding rect height divided by 2. Why is the bounding rect height divided by 2 12? That's really large for the bounding rect of this text should be like the height of the text. Oh, I just realized what this is. There's a new line at the end of them. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay. We're not stripping the new line when we are reading these in. That's why they end up looking like that. Okay. So where was that? In project. Here. We definitely want to chomp that. And let's try that again. We chomp the new line this time. Looky there. Now they're centered. Damn. Well, that was very silly. But I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. So then we can actually just undo any changes we made to libgui. And that'll be good. Okay, so now we are back on track. So what do we want to do next? So I guess what I would like to do now is if I click on a file, then I want that file to show up here. So should be easy enough, right? Does Text Editor have a load from file something? Has write to file. But that's it. Okay, that's fine. We will implement it ourselves. So should we open it on select or on double click? I guess I like double click for this kind of thing. Although select is tempting. Let's do double click. That's called activation in this case. In the item view naming world, terminology space, whatever you call that. On activation, what do we get for on activation? We get an index, right? And then we can do something with that index, which is going to be, we're just going to ask the model for the string, I guess. So file name is project list view model data index role. Oh, we don't need to say role display because that's the default. Okay, then we will open this file. So again, auto file, C file, construct. We don't have C file. Okay, and then if file can't be opened, return, yeah. Maybe we'll do a message actually. So let's get message box up in here. Okay, and then gmessage box show could not open. I don't know. We can do better here, but type error. Input type, okay, and we will pass the window as the parent. That means that it will become centered above the window and it will be modal, so that's all good. We won't get here until you actually click OK in the message box, so that's all good. But if it does work out, then I guess the easy way to do this is to just say, we're going to need the text editor for this actually, so let's make sure that we put it, I guess we can put it here. It's not the most important detail, but set text. We're just going to approach this the very, very simple way right now. And then we will worry about other things at other times. Right now, I just want to see that we can open these. And this we could not because C file open crashes. Open is passed a null string. That makes sense because I am not giving it the file name. It's interesting though that we'll let you open null. Seems like maybe we shouldn't allow that. C file is constructed with a string for the file name. I guess we could assert here. Wait, where is it? Here. We should assert that we have a reasonable file name. So is null. Okay, let's just add that. Make C file open assert that the file name is non-null. just makes it a little bit easier to spot what actually went wrong. Okay. What am I doing wrong? C file construct file name. Oh, right, to string. Because this actually returns a G variant, which is an object that can be all kinds of things. It can be a number, an icon, or a string, or something else. Okay, here we go. That's pretty awesome. And boom. So what else can we do here that would be very interesting? Maybe we should commit at this point, actually, just so we have a base to start building on top of. So let's do that. Add DevTools, Hack Studio, and we'll add build root file system and make all. Hack Studio. Start working on an IDE for Serenity OS. I keep going back and forth with Serenity and Serenity OS. Like originally, I was always calling it Serenity, but then more and more people show up and they start calling it Serenity OS, or some people even call it SOS. And at some point, I realized that I don't want to be that type of person who's like obnoxiously arguing with people about this kind of thing and like always correcting. Like, well, actually, if I may interject, it's actually Serenity. So I'm fine with Serenity OS, that's fine. Besides, it was easy to get serenityos.org, less easy to get serenity.anything, and I wanted a .org anyway, because .org is the coolest, and now I have it. So, this will be fun. Okay, it will be fun. So, let's see if we can, let's do some typical thing that I always want to do in an IDE. Like I always want to jump to a line. We should have a thing for that. So like in QCoder is Control L and then I type like the line number. So here if I want to go to the line 30, I just type Control L 30. And I really dig that. So I think we should be able to have that same exact functionality here. Let's just make that as a random thing. And oh, before we do that, actually, let's show the current cursor position in the status bar. So on cursor change, what does that give us, actually? Nothing. All right. Then we'll just ask the text editor where it is. So we'll say status bar set text. Like that. And I guess that would be text editor cursor dot line. Text editor cursor dot column. Okay, let me just see if that looks reasonable. Zero, zero, and then we move around. It's kind of neat. I like it. Should it be more descriptive? Should we say perhaps like line call might be friendly? I could make this command way less clunky. Maybe I should do that, but so, yeah, that looks really good. What does text editor do? Oh, see, I've been down this path before. Well, let's just do what that does then. Okay, so let's commit this. Hack Studio, show cursor line and column status bar. And then let's make that action to jump to a line that I wanted, because that would be a sweetie. So to do that, we're going to need gAction. And maybe we can even add it as a custom action. Didn't I do that? Yeah. So text editor has this mechanism where you can add a custom context menu action. Then it will show up when you right-click somewhere. So here, if you right-click, you get all these things. And likewise, we'll get that in Serenity for free. So that'll be stuff like cut, copy, paste, you know, the undo stuff that doesn't actually do anything, which I'm going to have to implement now if we're going to do this. But it will be good to take this seriously. So let's just create a gAction for jump to line, or let's say go to line. And we'll make a callback for that. That gives us the action. We don't need the action, actually. We can just use it. And should it be a widget local action? No. So what do? I mean, like longer term, I would like to have something like a command line, like how QCreator has a command line down here. But just for like doing this simple thing, let's use a g-input box because it's just easier. Okay, and then we'll do a auto input box, g-input box, construct. Or wait, does it have a show helper actually? Show. Wait, no, but how does that work? I forget. It doesn't have a helper. Okay. Then we will do this manually. So prompt, title, and parent. Line. Go to line. And the window will be the parent. And then we'll say auto result is input box execute. If result is exec OK, g input box exec OK, then we will auto say we'll take the number value. So auto line number is, I'm gonna have to do a string to number conversion here. Input box text value to uint. That's okay. And then if it says okay, then we will jump to that line number. Go to line. There's no such thing. Well, we'll make it. Is there a set cursor? It's private. So we can expose this, I think. So let's see line number. Yeah, okay, so why is it private? What does it do? Does a bunch of stuff. I think we should be able to just expose this. So let's just take those and put them up with the public boys. This is the protected area. Here is the land of public API. Okay, so let's pick a cool file, like the shell main file. And I didn't set it up to Control L, but we have go to line here. So let's do line 50. Boom. And we end up on line 50. What if I try to go too far? Like line 977. Bloop. Not good. Okay, so this is going to have to be a little bit smarter if it's exposed. So instead of asserting that the line number is valid, we'll just say if position line is greater than or equal to inline size, I'll ignore you. Position column is greater than the possible column for that line. Okay. That's cool. And then let's hook it up with a keybind. So we'll say mod control and key L. That's cool. Oh, and let's give it a cool icon. Let's use res icon 16 by 16. Oh, which one is that? I'm looking for the go right icon or go forward. This one. Ah, well, that was close enough anyway. Oh, oops, 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 oops. I didn't mean to commit there. Because a go forward arrow, I think that would look nice as a go to line icon. Yeah, it totally does. Let's oh, obviously it should be go to line dot dot dot. Because, you know, it's the age-old convention that dot 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 means that you know, something will happen UI-wise. Like this will open something up or whatever. It's not just an action that there will be no further interaction. I guess that's what it means. Like this will require further interaction. That's how I always read it anyways. 50. Boom. You know, it would be nice to see the line numbers on the ruler here, like I do in the text editor. So let's do that next. So what did we change here? In libgui, we just made text editor set cursor public. So let's commit that separately. Yeah, it's a nice and tidy change. Text editor set cursor public. Turn some assertions into early returns to avoid crashing. So we don't crash if a client tries to jump to an invalid position. It seems reasonable. Right now, yeah. It does seem reasonable that you wouldn't just crash because you try to set an invalid cursor position, but maybe we should assert, actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe we should return an error. I mean, it's weird that we just swallow the failure, actually. It is weird that we just swallow the failure. How about we just make them return bool? But that's so weird because no one's going to check for that. No one will check for that, but if you assert, then everyone will check for it. So I think I'm in. This was not the right change to make. We could clamp so that if you try to go past the end, we'll put you at the end. I think I like that one the best. So we'll say that if position line, blah, blah, blah. So we'll actually modify the position a little bit. Clamped position, let's say. Or let's clamp it. So if it's greater than that, then we'll say position set line and line size -1. And if it's greater than that, position set column. Okay, yeah, I like that one better. So let's try that out. So if you try to go to line 9001 in a file that has only 2 lines, we'll still just send you to the end of the file. Yeah, that makes more sense. Where's the GUI text editor? Let's just amend that previous commit to early returns. So instead, also made positions past the, also clamp the cursor value to the possible range instead of inserting when trying to set a cursor past the end of the document. Okay. Now let's turn on a ruler so that we can get the line numbers on the left-hand side. Set ruler visible. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's see how that looks. That's actually quite nice. I like it. Look at that! It's one of the rare borrowed files in Serenity. This is scanf for the C library. I have to I or someone has to go and replace this with our own thing at some point. But I mean, if we want to keep to the not invented here theme, which I enjoy, and I hope everyone else does as well. This is really neat. So let's see, let's commit this. Studio show line numbers in the text editor by default. We'll make that optional at some point, but right now we're just going to turn them on. Okay, so I mean, there's like a million billion things to do here, right? So obviously I could go on forever, but I have to end this at some point. So maybe this is the part where I should slow down and chill out and leave some for the next time. So I think I'm gonna do that. So let's just see what we got here. So we got this. Obviously you can't save or anything like that yet, but we have the start of an IDE, I think. Very, very simple. And I think this could be the start of something really cool. I find that it's really nice to start by throwing up like a UI skeleton, because it just makes you so inspired when you can see things happening right away. Like, it doesn't have to have all the functionality. You just have to get that like scaffolding. You know, I often talk about this in commute talks about how it's so important to build scaffolding for things, because you can always fill in the foundation later. But if you want to build large things, you need to like get really good at throwing up tons of scaffolding as fast as possible. So and then I mean reasonable scaffolding, but stuff that you can build underneath and on top of. And I think this is pretty good. Now, there's a million things here to do better, and we'll get to them. But I'm pretty happy with this for a start. So I guess we'll see how this goes. This will be interesting. So I'm definitely not stopping the regular OS hacking. I'm also not stopping the browser hacking, but this will be, I guess, the third component, third big thing that I would like to have with Serenity. in terms of hacking video themes. So yeah, this is the start of that. So thank you for hanging out and for checking this out. And I hope you saw something interesting. And I hope that this is going to become a pleasant programming environment, because I would really like to have one. Okay, so I just want to keep hacking, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop, make some dinner, and take care of some things. So thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time, and have a great day. Bye.